Betco's Sports Zone program, powered by Basic Coatings, provides superior products and innovative labor-saving processes to maintain and protect wood sports floors. Wood sports floors need to withstand a great deal of abuse. Good maintenance procedures give sports floors the protection, durability, and beauty needed for peak performance. When routine and interim maintenance no longer produces the desired appearance level, it will be necessary to move on to the next phase of the life cycle of floor care, restorative maintenance. We support a few different game plans to recoat sports floors. This video focuses on the screen and recoat process. A screen and recoat can be used to remove excessive wear, film imperfections, and dirt embedment by aggressively removing the top layer of finish. Screening and recoating is the most extreme restorative maintenance step before complete sanding of the wood floor. Let's get started on the proper procedures for a screen and recoat. When working with any cleaning chemical, remember to wear the proper PPE and be aware of all other health and safety precautions. Always handle chemicals away from the wood floor in case there are leaks or spills. Lastly, before starting any work, place the appropriate wet floor signs in areas where maintenance is to be performed. Thoroughly vacuum all entrance floor matting to remove soils and prevent them from being tracked onto the floor. A long-handle scraper or a putty knife should be used to remove stickers, gum, and other debris adhered to the floor surface. Using a clean, dry dust mop, carefully sweep the entire floor surface. Before you begin, and throughout installation, use a moisture meter to measure the moisture content of the floor and record the readings. These will provide a baseline for when to begin next application steps later in the process. Depending on floor conditions, choose the appropriate screening grit level. For yearly screen and recoats, use 150 to 180 grit or finer screen or equivalent to remove topical damage. For floors with heavy scratches, dirt embedment, or deep surface imperfections, a rougher grit will be necessary for removal, 100 or 80 grit. Note, if lower grits are used, multiple screen steps are needed, finishing at 150 or higher to avoid coating deep swirl marks in the finish. Apply the screen to a low-speed buffer or orbital machine with a maroon or general cleaning pad backer. Screen the floor with the grain at a moderate pace, making sure that abrasive action is taking place and the wear layer is being removed. If using a floor machine, run along the grain of the wood, clocking the machine at 3 o'clock for best abrasion. Check the screen frequently for pad loading that can interfere with proper abrasion. Flip the screen after roughly 225 square feet and replace it after 450 square feet. Failing to properly exchange pads can adversely affect adhesion or appearance of top coat. You may also consider laying out unused screen along your intended path in order to promote the correct usage rate. After screening, vacuum the entire floor. It is necessary to rinse the floor using squeaky cleaner or game time cleaner in fast draw. When complete, check the floor for successful removal of the wear layer, as well as scuffs and other imperfections. If necessary, rescreen specific areas or proceed to the next highest grit if lower grits were used. As a final dust removal step, use the same cleaner as diluted previously. Soak several large towels in the solution, making sure they are thoroughly wet. Wring out the towels to remove excess moisture. Wrap a towel around a push broom and tack the floor. Allow the floor to dry completely, then measure the moisture content again. The floor is ready to coat when the new moisture readings are within 2 points of the original. Turn off ventilation equipment and apply any Betco Sports Zone water-based finish according to the following procedures. Always maintain adequate temperature and ventilation during all phases of the coating and drying process. During application, restrict airflow to help prevent premature drying. For two-component products, while stirring the finish, add the catalyst slowly and continue mixing for roughly 30 seconds. Allow it to stand for 10 minutes before use. For one-component products, stir well and proceed. For both one- and two-component products, up to 12 ounces of potable water can be added per gallon of finish for improved flow in hot or dry environments. Rinse your applicator and remove all excess water. This also helps to remove loose fibers. Always do adhesion test in an inconspicuous area prior to starting the project. Pour the finish into a clean, dry plastic pour can and pour approximately a 4-inch wide line of finish along one wall with the grain of the wood. With the applicator at a slight angle, move the puddle line to the opposite wall, always maintaining a wet edge. Apply the finish at a coverage rate of 500 to 700 square feet per gallon. At the end of each pass, make a smooth turn with the applicator and squeeze out excess finish with the grain next to the puddle. Feather out any finish imperfections, and then proceed down the next line as before. On the last pull down the floor against the wall, make smaller applicator pulls against the grain away from the wall and then feather with the grain as you proceed out of the room. Allow a minimum of 30 to 45 minutes for the finish to level. Then allow increased and balanced air movement and fresh air exchange. After a minimum 2 to 3 hours, under good conditions, remeasure the moisture content. If the moisture content is not equal to the first reading, allow more dry time. When moisture measurements are within 2 points of original, the floor can be recoated if necessary. Abrade between coats if the finish has dried for over 24 hours using a maroon pad or 180 to 240 grit sanding strips. Allow light traffic on the floor after 24 hours. When routine and interim maintenance no longer produce the desired appearance levels, it will be necessary to move on to the next phase of the life cycle of floor care, restorative maintenance. Restorative maintenance will make your floors look better and last longer. When performed properly, it will extend the time between complete sanding and total replacement. For more information, call 888-GO-BETCO, contact your local regional manager, or visit betco.com.